A deadly pandemic brings the nation and the world to its knees. The novel coronavirus, later termed COVID-19, would headline our sentences and dictate the way we lived our lives. A suspicious illness with initial symptoms of cough, fever, and shortness of breath. Once considered a COVID-related pneumonia in Wuhan, China, only a few dozen cases at the time. Then Thailand, and Japan, and soon the United States. Atlanta-based Centers for Disease Control begins COVID screenings at 3 U.S. airports, where flights from Wuhan were the most populated. Later in January, the CDC confirmed its first case in Washington state, then established a team to investigate. In February, the United States declares a public health emergency after the World Health Organization announces the same globally. In March, the Georgia Department of Public Health reports that a Bartow County resident is Georgia's first COVID-19 related death. Mid-March saw a major shift as the governor closes K-12 and post-secondary schools and issues his first shelter-in-place order. Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms issues a telework protocol for city employees and would soon close City Hall to essential and non-essential employees, turning a bustling City Hall into this, a quiet, nearly empty building. The race for a national vaccine and COVID-19 testing was now well underway. There was still so much unknown. We had a lot to figure out. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms establishes a pandemic coordination team to outline the city's strategic plan.
5, 6, 7, 8. We will begin. I call the meeting to order.
Atlanta City Council meetings left the chamber to find a new temporary virtual home. Town halls would be remote. Senior walk events would be executed via computer. Even the planting of trees would be done while masked and socially distanced. The mayor issues an executive order creating a $7 million emergency fund to help those impacted by the virus. Food programs, help for the homeless, small business support, and help for others adversely impacted. Congress passes the CARES Act, providing emergency relief checks to Americans as the United States registers 100 deaths from COVID. 4 firefighters with Atlanta Fire Rescue test positive for COVID-19. Sergeant Cortez Stafford tells us the virus led Chief Randall Slaughter to issue a state of emergency.
Some of the administrative duties have been reassigned to make sure we have folks out there in the field available to respond to calls. And I think that's important because we have to anticipate that we ourselves, the fire department, may have members that are affected by the coronavirus.
New protocols would be implemented for interaction with firefighters, police, and EMTs. Everything had changed. Unemployment rates spike, with the hospitality industry taking the largest hit.
Before you recover, you have to, endure. And that's what businesses are doing right now, is they're trying to make plans to endure what we're going through.
April, May, and June would see a combination of slowdowns and surges in cases, those also disproportionately impacting communities of color. Despite the restrictions, the nation gathered in protest upon the death of 46-year-old George Floyd, an African-American man who was killed as a Minneapolis police officer placed his knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Protests are believed to be connected to an increase in COVID cases. As hospitals became overwhelmed, there were shortages of ventilators, face shields, masks, and other important personal protective equipment. People from across the country would begin making masks for themselves and others. Councilmember Jennifer Ide and family would even join in to help, and Emory would engage in a major clinical trial involving a COVID-19 vaccine from Moderna and a drug called remdesivir.
Hello, I'm Atlanta City Councilmember Howard Shook. Did you know the United States has been counting its population since 1790?
The 2020 census enacts COVID-19 protocols and extends its deadline. New protocols are established for pregnant women. Dr. Anthony Fauci warns that new COVID cases could hit 100,000 per day. July saw scientists confirming that airborne particles played a role in the virus's transmission, prompting the World Health Organization to acknowledge it publicly. Florida becomes the epicenter of the virus. Civil rights icons John Lewis and C.T. Vivian pass away. And our own Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, her husband, and 2 family members test positive for COVID-19. Atlanta City Council members would continue in their mission to help those in need by providing community food drives and drive-up grocery events. In August, the FDA issues emergency use authorization for convalescent plasma, and COVID becomes the 3rd leading cause of death.
We have surge planning, we have COVID planning, been looked at great. We worked at partnering with our departments of public health, the National Guard, state and local officials, all to be prepared for the demand that may be seen in the community.
September, October, and November saw fears of the upcoming flu season and a possible twindemic, where the flu and COVID would collide. The CDC finds a connection between COVID cases and those who dined out at restaurants. President Trump, along with First Lady Melania and their son, test positive for COVID-19. And Georgia citizens cast ballots in the presidential election during a pandemic. Joe Biden is elected president, Kamala Harris vice president. Council members Andrea Boone, actor T.I., and the mayor help families during a drive-through turkey giveaway. Christmas takes on a whole new meaning and hope as the first batches of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine roll out in Georgia, focused on frontline healthcare workers and residents of long-term care facilities. Medical experts asked that holiday travel be limited, but many COVID-fatigued took to the highways and skies anyway. December would become the deadliest month of the pandemic in the U.S., with more than 65,000 dead. COVID-19 now the leading cause of death in the United States. With more vaccines on the way, medical experts hope all Americans who want the shot will have access to it by June of 2021.